visual effects we've been working on for a long time. A tiny fraction of the effects are in. We're working off of temp effects. Those won't all be in for another month. And we have to make slight picture changes always to accommodate that.
So for you, you do your landing, boom, boom.
The first half hour of being in the Iron Man suit is like the coolest Halloween you ever had, except you're alone in the trailer before they call you on a set or whatever, or you're getting ready and you just catch a glimpse and you go, that's right. Grandma'd be proud. Shane Mahan and all the guys are geniuses, literally. Suit yourself.
Everybody knew, like, and Marvel especially, like, it can't look like a guy in a suit. That was the interesting challenge of getting the right proportion of a suit to the girth of the shoulders, to the size of the head. Make it as small as you possibly can. Make the legs as long as you possibly can. Then Robert Downey was cast when most of the model was kind of done. Then we had to scan him and kind of fit him in from the hips up. Still purport, because he had to operate the thing.
2, 1, go!
But we found some really great and talented stuntmen performers that were very athletic, very fit. They fit lengthwise into the suit as well as the upper proportions. And the audition basically was, can you fit this helmet on? Because if you can't fit the helmet, you can't be in an Iron Man suit. There were guys just trying so hard, like, I can do it, like, you know.
Oh, is this what I think it is?
Yes, it is.
We call this the autopsy body. The technicians and the Air Force and Army brass are going to be taking this apart to sort of see how it works.
We built 2 practical hero suits and like 4 stunt suits, and you know, and then we built the Mark II. Was actually a hybrid. I mean, it was half fiberglass and half rubber, so you could get some flexing in it as well. So now we're able to get this kind of compression with the ribs. So it gives the actor a little more flexibility in bending side to side.
What we had going against this was that we're creating this, you know, armored suit on a man that's going to move like an acrobat and a fighter, but is clearly more robotic. First of all, how do you get around that convention and that physical problem? And how do you create that world and still make it feel like it's actually happening?
We were originally asked just to provide some reference pieces for them to film, and then they were going to do a lot of CG work. As the scope of the project developed, you know, they realized that, you know, that it would work better if they had some more practical elements involved in it. And it just started expanding into us actually putting a guy into the suit and ended up using a lot of it with the man in the suit.
Jon Favreau knows the limits, the parameters. He knows how much the actors are willing to put into it.
In this film, they're going to do mostly motion capture for the legs.
Replacing the legs helps the actors on set be a little bit more mobile than they could be with the entire suit. On the first one, we really had them dressed up in the entire suit, and it was really awkward to walk around in. So for the second movie, we really want to try and free them up so that they can perform as best as they could.
Is that thing up higher than it was? I have no idea what it's doing.
I think, like John, want to do as much of it practically as possible. To me, some of the best stuff, the best visual effects are just stuff that we shot practically, or the Mark I suit.
Favreau always is pushing that aesthetic. He wants to believe the camera move. He wants to believe that it could be shot by somebody on a platform somewhere. He's always asking about the map.
At that point, they could start to rotate, and we could be doing this.
Even though we know we're going to have to rely on digital effects, the goal in conception is to figure out where the camera would be if this thing was really happening. Because then the film's a little more honest and then it's rooted in reality. And I think that was successful about one.
He really strives to at least have a grounding, solid, practical camera move, a grounding element in the scene, as much as possible in the plate that's real.
Shooting practical elements seems big and expensive, but it's actually less expensive than the type of digital work that would be required. And even digital work, they'll go out and shoot elements on their own. Rarely do they build something out of nothing.
We always try to have it live and practical. When you can, you do. When you can't, you always look at a practical reference so that you can either match it or augmentate it.
We learned in the first one that the more practical elements you could shoot and the smarter you were in the way that you conceive of the shots, and the less you're asking of your vendors to create out of nothing, the more likely you are to achieve something that fools the audience.
We use the suits throughout scenes just to get capture, reference. You know, we get a really good sense of what the lighting is, how they respond to lighting, and we really strive to have shots where you cut practical suit, CG suit, practical suit, CG suit, and you don't know what is what.
Here at ILM, baby. NorCal.
When you look back on 2, because ILM and the various houses did such a great job, they were able to embellish upon that reality so well that we relied more on digital, ironically, in 2, and because we had learned so much about what we could accomplish. And we used less of the physical realities, and we ended up relying more on the digital side of things, but still maintaining an idea for the camera that would be rooted in reality.
Between us and visual effects, we really came to the conclusion of physical start, physical end with a soft, gooey texture of digital in between, maybe with a few more shots.
I told you to shut it down.
The house fight scene is a lot of fun. It's gone through a lot of changes, but we saw a cut of the film yesterday, and it's pretty much gelled now.
It's a pretty extensive sequence, so I mean, a lot of these, you know, dust maps and things that we're making are going to carry on throughout the entire house fight.
I'm going to start layering on dust at different progressions of the fight. So I've got him, I'm going to have to put some dust on his shoulders and the back of his head.
We're working on doing some digital destruction to the Stark house to represent the damage that's kind of sustained while he and Rhodey are fighting each other in the Iron Man suits.
We will give John exactly what he wants. You know what, I want to destroy more of this. I know that I want Iron Man to lift his head and break through this fireplace right here, so we should start planning on what kind of debris is going to fall off his head. Should the explosion be bigger, what should we do with the fire?
You know, the fireplace seems kind of a little bit undented, undamaged after he pulls himself out. So we sort of up the intensity of the damage. The whole wall gets caved in as Iron Man hits it, and then you have a much larger fire explosion element.
This is just one of many effects on this model. So this is going to be the concrete dust pass. There's a specularity pass, there's a color pass, all of that.
This is the map that he has painted for me so far, and in this particular thing is the damage of the dust is on the back of his shoulders and back of his head and stuff like that. There's a few areas that are still in progress, so that's why they're gray and yellow at the moment. This is showing me that it's not done yet.
Definitely up the ante as far as how things work, kind of keeping that whole feel that things are supposed to be real within the film.
It takes a lot of work to get it right, to make the lighting match up and make it so that, you know, but visual effects is one of those areas where if you do your job perfectly, nobody notices that you did anything.